So Tokyo 101. Why is Japan's capital so unique? Tokyo is the largest metropolitan area in the world, and 1/3 of all of Japan's population lives in the greater Tokyo area. That's 38 million people. If you travel Japan, you can do just about anything in Tokyo. So here, I'll review the most popular Tokyo neighborhoods and what they're famous for to help you choose where to go. Shinjuku is famous for its wild nightlife and abundance of shopping. Tokyo has the most neon signs of any city in the world, and you can really see this in Shinjuku. Kabukicho is nightlife aimed more towards working adults, and even though it has an infamous reputation, it is full of amazing restaurants as well, and pretty safe too. In fact, Tokyo is actually one of the safest cities in the world. I myself have lost my wallet here and had it returned to me with all the cash inside of it. And that's not even a rare story. Next, Shibuya is nightlife aimed more towards students and a younger crowd. It seems a bit more chaotic, but arguably a bit more relaxed. It also has an abundance of shopping and food, and the most busy intersection in the world called Shibuya Scramble, and I'm sure you've seen videos of this. Next, Akihabara is Japan's center for pop culture, anime, manga, gaming, and electronics. You will find countless made and cosplay cafes and bars, and city blocks with back-to-back figure stores, game centers, and anime merch stores. Next, Harajuku is Tokyo's epicenter of youth fashion, alternative, kawaii, and lolita fashion, and trendy, if not even pretty experimental cafes and bars. Next, Roppongi is nightlife that is really popular with travelers, foreigners, and is often a little bit more expensive. Roppongi also has a ton of art museums for fans of contemporary art, and Roppongi Hills has an amazing view of the city. Next, Ginza is famous for some of the best sushi in Japan, but you will often have to make reservations for months in advance for the very best. Also, Ginza has a lot of high-end fashion shopping, and honestly, all the places I've mentioned so far have a lot of designer brand stores and high fashion outlets too, just not as much as Ginza, or maybe also Roppongi. Next, Nichome is Tokyo's largest LGBTQ+ community, and has an abundance of nightlife and many LGBTQ+ rights organizations and events, and wonderful food. Next, Asakusa is famous for its abundance of traditional Shinto shrines and Buddhist temples. It also has Tokyo's oldest temple, and is a beautiful place to walk around. Next, Golden Gai is a retro nightlife, with very small intimate bars with many themes, and is very popular with people that work in media and artists. This is honestly just the beginning of all the countless unique and interesting places you can go in Tokyo, and I really only gave such general summaries of each one. I will also say, however, that Tokyo does have a reputation for being a bit cold towards visitors, especially compared to other Japanese regions such as Kansai. I've met a ton of amazing people there, but I can understand this. So many people from all around Japan migrate to Tokyo to pursue fairly competitive industries or educations, and this could definitely saturate any sense of community with more of a sense of exclusivity, which could come across as cold. I'm only adding this to encourage you to check out other parts of Japan too, even though there is so much to do in Tokyo. Osaka, Japan 101. What makes Tokyo's more friendly travel alternative so unique? Osaka is famous for having the best food in Japan, and Osaka people are also famous for being kind, welcoming, warm, straightforward, and funny, which I can verify after living there for over a year. Osaka is in the second largest metropolitan area in Japan after Tokyo, and while this area only has half the amount of people, it is still massive. So here I'll review the most popular Osaka neighborhoods and what they're famous for, to help you choose where to go. First, Umeda, a polished entertainment and shopping downtown area. You'll find Umeda Sky Building, a skyscraper with a free floating garden on the top stories with a beautiful view of the city, and the HEP 5 Ferris wheel, which is a cool amusement attraction in the center of downtown, and Grand Front Osaka, which is a huge shopping center. Next, Numba, a second entertainment area with a more wild nightlife and shopping that is more inspired by youth culture and alternative and hip-hop music. While Umeda was traditionally where the samurai class would hang out, Numba was more where the merchant class and commoner class would hang out, and the vibes of casual indulgence in food and entertainment has carried into this day, I believe. Here, there's also Dotonbori, probably the most iconic Osaka view, famous for amazing food that is often advertised by large sculptures outside the establishments, making this an incredibly photogenic riverside shopping area. Next, Denden Town is Osaka's pop culture capital, where you can go to find anything anime, manga, or video game related. It also sells any kind of electronics you would want, and has tons of maid cafes and cosplay bars. Next, Shinsekai, a retro entertainment area that has old school arcades, and restaurants, bars, and cafes that have been around for over 50 years, if not more. There's also a zoo that you can go to for under $5, and Tsutenkaku Tower, which has an amazing view and was built in 1912. Next, if you like nature more, Mino Osaka is famous for its hiking, like Tamino Waterfalls, and also its mountainside resort, and its craft beer brewery. And to illustrate how friendly I think local communities in Osaka can be, I once got terribly lost here in the middle of the night when I was a student, so I asked a group of of people my age for directions home, but they said it was too far to walk, so instead they called their friends with a car and they all gave me a ride home. Took like 45 minutes. That was like 5 years ago, and most of them are still my close friends. So I really like Mino, Osaka. Next, if you like Japanese traditional stuff, Sumiyoshi Taisha is one of the oldest shrines in Japan, dating back 1,800 years ago. It's rare because it was built before Buddhism came to Japan from China, so it's one of the few that has architectures that was not inspired by any outside countries. Osaka also has Universal Studios with a Harry Potter land and Super Mario World, and of course Osaka Castle. Anyway, I found Osaka's sense of community to be a bit more welcoming than Tokyo's, while still maintaining the vibrantly massive amount of big city things to do. There are many reasons for this, like Tokyo just has many more people moving in and out of it from work and temporarily traveling there, which may detract from a more permanent sense of local community that I often find in Osaka establishments, but I guarantee you it's worth a visit. Things I wish I knew before I went to Japan. First, when booking your flight, if you arrive in Tokyo, there are two main airports, Haneda and Narita. I would go for Haneda whenever possible. It is far more convenient and takes about 30 minutes to get to the center of Tokyo, whereas Narita is much farther away from the main city areas, and usually takes over an hour to get close to downtown like Shinjuku, which will also often cost more than twice as much. 2. Get a transportation card. This can help you ride any train or bus. It's this card here, and they're sold at any major train station or airport. This is called Ikoka, but different areas have different names, like Pasmo or Suica. It's so much easier to just charge money to this card and tap it at the kiosk to enter train stations or buses than to calculate the cost for each ticket you buy. Most stations only take cash too, and I have anxious memories of sorting through unfamiliar coins to pay for a bus while people are lined up behind me or friends are waiting on me. You can also use these cards at some vending machines, and you can get these cards on your phone to make things twice as easy. Next, there are cheap places to rent bicycles all over Japan, and getting around Japan on a bike is such an amazing way to see the country, find new places, and save money. There's spots like this in Tokyo where you can rent them with your phone, and most mid-sized cities I've been to have English accessible daily or weekly bicycle rentals, usually about $10 a day or about $1 an hour. Next, have some kind of coin purse or coin pouch like these. Many of the most charming restaurants in Japan will only still accept cash, and this may lead to carrying around a lot of change. It's just a helpful way to carry it all around in one place, and something I've never had to have in America. Also, Japanese coins hold more value, like this would essentially be $1 and this would be about $5, so coins are useful to have. Next, so many Japanese restaurants have all-you-can-drink options on the menu. In Japanese, this is called nomi hodai, and I wish I knew to look for this more. It's a great way to save money, and usually for about $20 to $30 you can have all the drinks you want for about an hour and a half. So make sure to stay safe, and please follow me to learn more things I wish I knew before I went to Japan. So earthquakes in Japan, 101. Japan has more earthquakes than anywhere in the world. On average, every year, there are 1,500 earthquakes in Japan, and almost 20% of the world's strongest earthquakes with a magnitude of 6 or greater occur there as well. Although most of these are small tremors that are hard to even feel. Here's what the Japanese government recommends you do before and after an earthquake and how to prepare for one. If you're traveling, register your trip with your country's embassy within Japan. This will help your country's embassy quickly contact you and help you if necessary during the event of a natural disaster. This can be done easily online. For example, for Americans, look up the US Embassy and Consulates in Japan homepage. Next, it doesn't hurt to find your local evacuation areas and evacuation shelters in whatever area you're staying at in Japan. This will likely be wide open parks or nearby middle schools or high schools. These can also be found online for every prefecture. However, if you don't know where the closest one is, most every Japanese citizen has been through extensive earthquake drills for their entire lives, so it would be a safe bet to follow wherever people around you are going. Next, if you're in Japan, your cell phone should automatically receive any emergency government earthquake warnings, or after the earthquake, government evacuation notices. But if you want to be extra safe, there are some apps for Android and iOS that will do this for you as well, such as Yude Kuru Call. So next, what should you do during an earthquake? First, duck down to get a lower center of gravity so you don't fall over as easily. Cover and protect your head and neck if possible with a jacket or a backpack or a pillow. Stay away from windows that could break and shower you with broken glass or anything that could fall over. If you're inside, try to stay under a doorway or something really stable. If you're outside, try to be in the most open area possible, away from buildings and windows and walls. And always try to hold on to something stable. If you're on a train, all trains in Japan will automatically stop if there's an earthquake warning. Evacuation instructions on the train might be in Japanese only, and if you don't understand, just follow what everyone else does. If you're in a car, it's advised to stay inside of it, and if possible, park it away from power lines. If you have to evacuate the car, please leave the keys in the ignition so that rescue workers can move the car if they have to get it out of the way. If you're in a tall building, stay away from the windows. And just know that Japanese building and construction codes are extremely strict, especially when it comes to earthquake safety. And tall buildings are actually designed to sway back and forth during a large earthquake. This is actually safer and makes the buildings less brittle so they don't break. It might be scary, but nothing to panic about. Next, all gas lines in Japan are designed to automatically shut off if there's an earthquake greater than a 5.0 magnitude. But if you're staying in a house, it doesn't hurt to turn off the gas and the electricity after the shaking stops to prevent fires. That covers the basics, but it never hurts to do more research on these things yourself. And I've personally lived in Japan for over 5 years and I've never been bothered by earthquakes. There've been a couple small ones, but everyone seemed to really just go about their day. There's even a small earthquake during a first date that I went on once, and they just said it was kind of funny timing and even kind of romantic. So I hope that the possibility of earthquakes don't prevent you from visiting such a lovely country, but it's always good to be prepared. Hey, Wes here. I hope you found these videos helpful and more to come, so let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like me to cover regarding traveling Japan, learning the language, or the cultural differences, or anything at all actually. So, thank you for watching.